What happened last night? You were calling that.
You saw
man.
me briefly. Well, you saw me briefly on Monday after the firing. Was it Monday that we chatted for about half an hour? The firing of DJ. I don't know. I thought about it. And Frankie, I actually watched your clip there last night I think it was on Jay. You nailed it. Like, they were rolling, and it would have actually been easier for them to just win the new coach bump. And, hey, it's all DJ's fault. It's all this. Where their ghosts creeped up, and it's like that's been the problem with this group. They were world beaters. They're up 3-0. They chased the goaltender. We've seen it. We saw it in Dallas. We saw it the game before. Mm-hmm. And in Vegas, actually, they were up 2-0, and they're feeling pretty good. But it just – the game management, the game within the game, and you could just feel it. Being in the building last night, I was laughing to myself because, Hayes, I'm in this – I'm in the Arizona State building, and it is rocking. Like, the roof almost came off because for the first 2 periods, I'm out, like, quiet. And, the band's there, people, there's cheerleaders, there's like they want to get after it. And Arizona scores late, and you could just feel it shift.
It's a
and
gong show,
I kept
Noodles.
saying
I can't believe it.
I kept saying on air.
I can't either. And guys, I don't know if you agree or disagree. A couple things on this. Yeah. One thing is the Buffalo Sabres and the Ottawa Senators, you love your young players. You want to lock them up long term. You want to pay them all. But for both teams not to be sniffing around playoffs or even playing meaningful games in the spring, I'm telling you right now, you can't slough it off and say, well, roll it back and we'll do it again next year. And then hopefully we're playing meaningful games in the spring. Maybe the young players you got, and if you look at the Toronto Maple Leafs and you want to goof on the Leafs and say, you know what, they can't get past the first round or whatever, at least when they were young, they qualified for the playoffs, and at least they had a chance. These teams are looking like, again, they're not going to have a chance. Therefore, I think you have to look at the rosters and all of these players. If you want to separate them and put them on an individual board and go crazy over their stats, you can do that. But maybe all of them together, they're just not good enough to win. It doesn't work. And it's what bugs me about the league where it's like long-term deal. How long can you wait for these guys to do it? Like, to be not even sniffing near the playoffs, I think it has to be concerning where you look at it and say, maybe we got to move some of these guys out for different guys. And Vegas is an extreme example of getting different guys in, and they made it work, and they won the Stanley Cup. But just to keep saying these are the guys that are going to get it done. The second thing is Tim Stutzle, put him on right wing. He's not a centerman. I do not think that kid's a centerman. If you look at the way he plays, I think he's a Pavel Bure type player. The way he skates, the way he wants to operate. I don't see him as a guy that wants to dig in the corners and do center iceman work. So when that Pinto comes back, put him at center ice and put the kid on right wing. Go ahead.
I mean, those are fair points. The one thing I would say, like, there's you can't argue against that because the proof is in the pudding. Yeah. But
Noodles, they do the same things every night. They play the same game every night. It's like, come on, guys.
I've said this before, though. Your top players have to play like top players. And that's when you look at it. When we saw Edmonton hit the ditch at the start of the season, it wasn't Derek Ryan that was going to dig them out. It was going to be McDavid and Draisaitl. It was going to be Nurse. It was going to be the spine of their team. You just mentioned Tim Stutzle. He's over a point a game. He's not playing to his capabilities. No, he's a really good player. Josh Norris. All of these guys, they're a fragile team. They're not playing with confidence. I'm not ready yet, just based on with that group, to just blow it up. But I will say
I'm not talking about blowing it up, Noodles. I'm saying maybe all of them together. You got to change up the mix a little bit.
And that's fair because Brady Tkachuk said yesterday in his media, coach has been fired. Next step is the players, and the players. If the guys aren't getting it done, then the new management takes a look. And here's the thing: the new management has no allegiance.
No ties.
They didn't sign these guys, so they're going to take a look at it and go, who do we like? Who do we not like? Who are we going to move away from? What decisions are we going to make? But that's ultimately the story.
Here's where I think Buffalo or Ottawa should feel better about their situation than Buffalo. It's that they have a new owner, because I think a lot of the issues start at the top. I don't think there's any question the previous owner in Ottawa was not fully committed to winning all the time, and I don't think Terry Pegula has not been a positive for the Buffalo Sabres. Not
in what
even
way?
Close. In terms of the way that they invest in management, what you hear about what they invest in scouting, their coaching, like I don't think they've gone big game hunting. I don't. I think a lot of it has been, coaches on the cheap, management on the cheap. I think there's a bit of a catch-22 also in terms of committing to the younger players.
They committed a lot of money to those guys.
They committed a lot to them. And listen, individually, you look at the players, you're like, Rasmus Dahlin, yeah, pay him. Tim Stutzle, yeah, pay him. But because there's been such a culture of losing there, they're also terrified that those guys are going to leave the first chance they get. So the players end up with a lot of leverage. And I think, you mentioned Vegas in the extreme there. And you know where I stand on the helicopter coming in and a lot of the goofiness down there, but I have had to take a step back. Vegas has been a resounding success. Bill Foley has been a brilliant owner down there and a victorious and winning owner. And I think the one guy you can look at as to explain the difference between culture is Jack Eichel. Where Eichel was up here in Buffalo, and it was a disaster, and he was mopey, and then he'd take the blame, and it was like, get him out, he stinks. Goes to Vegas, gets surrounded by the right people. The guy's a rock star every single night.
How about Ryan O'Reilly, Hayes?
O'Reilly couldn't wait to get out, and he wins.
He said it. Lost his love for the game. He goes to St. Louis, wins a Stanley Cup. Robin Lehner, same thing. It's almost at the point with Ottawa, and Rasmus Ristolainen had some comments about Torts the other day where he said, I wish I had Torts when I was younger, when I was really developing, because that really would have helped me. This Ottawa team is almost at the point where they need like Patrick Waugh in there, where he's just going to go in, he's going to ruffle some feathers, and he's going to hold everyone accountable, and those guys aren't going to like it, but you're going to weed out like who's for real and who isn't with a guy like that.
I think Jacques going to figure that out. Jacques Martin is going to figure that out, and he's going to give him an ultimatum. The guy's 71 years old. Who in the hell knows what he's going to do after this year? And he's going to say to them, I don't care. I'm leaving after this year anyway, but I'm not going to let you guys go out there and do this. So either you do it my way or you're not going to do it at all. You can sit your ass on the bench. You all got paid. You're all getting paid. I'm not going to watch you blow by checks, throw pizzas up the middle, backhand passes into the slot. If you want to do that, you're not going to play. Well, and that might click after that.
I agree with you, but then the next stage is Martin going upstairs to Staios and saying, this is not a guy you want. I don't care. He's got 7 years left. You got to get rid of him.
Stevie Staios is a smart guy.
I agree with you.
He will not need to be told that.
Well, then we'll see if he acts on it.